This video comes from a live webinar I did with Wunderbuild last month, where Hashi from Wunderbuild runs through how you can connect Claude to Wunderbuild and how you can use prompts, skills, automations, and workflows to extract information, interpret your data, and start turning AI into practical actions inside your building business. Now, if you haven't already, I'll include the link in the description where you can download the complete AI Skills Pack that was mentioned in the webinar. So that'll include the Claude prompts, skills, instruction guide, and all the general resources so you can follow along. And if you're more of a ChatGPT user, I'll also include the ChatGPT and Wunderbuild video in the description where I'll run through the ChatGPT side of things. Hey, real quick before we get into the video, for those of you who don't know me, my name's Theo Manifavis. I'm a former builder. I've managed hundreds of projects and now I run Consistemize, where I help builders set up Wunderbuild and their business systems. So that's it, just a quick intro today. Hashi's going to go deep with his demo and get you thinking about everything that's possible when you connect AI, and in this instance, Claude to Wunderbuild.
So now let's just go through the API generation as well as the connecting to Claude as well. So I'll just share my screen and we'll get started. So first thing, Theo covered a lot this before, but this is information is already on the slides. The simplest way to explain this is that obviously Claude is simply an LLM tool that will connect it to your Wunderbuild application via MCP. And the simplest way to explain what an MCP is basically, if I was today using Wunderbuild in a Google Chrome as I'm doing now, then my browser for today is Chrome. I'm using it to interact Wunderbuild with my Google Chrome. So the way the LLMs go out of the LLM box to outside world, i.e. Wunderbuild or any other applications, is through the MCP server or MCP layer. In this case, it's simple, it's a transport layer. So it's a highway. These are unique servers that only serve or work with AI tools. So as an example now, this is no difference like me clicking on a browser, logging to Wunderbuild, entering my username, password, and then accessing the system. So the MCP URL you normally connect with Claude or ChatGPT is that URL. If I try to use that in a normal browser, you can see it doesn't work. So these are unique kind of a route or routers that are specifically designed for the LLM access. So in terms of security, you've got pretty much full control. So basically, it's no different like your username and password. So you set the key, you give the key to the LLM, and the key has credential and authority what it can do. You can read the data, what sort of data it can read. So we'll do that part first. So we'll go head back to Wunderbuild, and I've got it here. So you head to your Wunderbuild applications and go to Wunderbuild applications, simply go to your settings, and then integrations, and then API key. Here, you simply add a new API key. If you're just getting started this for the first time, my recommendation is simply set the scope or access just to read only. I'll probably choose you can delete this and recreate it over and over again. I'll probably choose something like maybe lead section and just do read only and then connect with that, right? If you're comfortable with everything later, you can say all scopes, and then allow that to have it read and write only. So when you simply enter your API, whatever key. If you want to give your team members access to this, ideally you should give every team member a key, a unique key. The reason why you want to do that is that this is no different like someone losing their phone. So if someone lost their device, because once I'm connected to my Claude or any other tool, it's available in my mobile phone, it's available in my desktop. So if those are lost, that user with that key has access to the data. So later, all you need to do is simply delete the key, and then their connection will be disabled without affecting the rest of the team. So just give a unique key or create a separate key for every team member. Simply enter the name of the key, give all scope, create. That will create an API key. It will show you the API key as well. And then after that, we head to Claude and do the connection. So you will see here, the key name will be listed there. And that is the key that will connect to Claude as well. So before
just so I'm clear, and I think maybe some other people might be thinking the same thing. Does everyone need to log in with their own login access and create their own API key, or?
No, the account holder would create an access because you want to really scope you want to limit this to certain scope and what it can do. So you don't want everyone to be connected to Claude. These are LLMs; they can do great things, but at the same time also they can make mistakes. So you want to be really have a full control. So we set this up to be API first. So you have that extra level of control, irrespective of the user's permission access they have. It has nothing to do with that. This key is the key that controls the connection between the two systems.
Okay.
All right. So now that we have a key, another key thing is that we've been seeing this a lot. All of these new tools, new features are exclusively available in the new design. So you're not going to be able to create a key in the old system. So if you're using the old Wunderbuild design, you will not be able to do any of those things. So all of the keys, all of these features that we're showing you, exclusively available in the new design. The new design will become the default design within the, I think, next 2 weeks, once we have all the user tutorials and everything ready. So now we can, get started with the Claude. So we head back to Claude. This is just the general Claude helper tool. If you're using Claude Max, that's okay. But if you're using, let's say, the team plan, the team account holder is going to set this information up. And there's a small thing that really will help you to get the best out of it, because every time you basically connect Claude, will ask you for permission. So we don't want it to constant asking us that permission. So before we even do the connection, what I would recommend with you is that simply click on here and then click on the organization settings. Right, that will take you to this organization settings. Click on Cowork. Right, and when you're in Cowork, make sure you enable this. That, I know it's kind of sounds scary, but this will help you get the best out of it. Otherwise, every prompt, everything that does something, Claude will ask you, do you want to authorize this? Do you want to authorize this? And it really becomes a bit annoying. All right, so let's head back. I think I'm already connected, so I'm just going to quickly disconnect, and then we'll do the connection together. So here's the one I'm already connected. I'm going to quickly disconnect this, and I'll walk you through how the connection works. Disconnect, and there you go. It's gone. You can also delete. That's gone now. So that will be removed, and now we add a new account, new Wunderbuild account. So again, if you're a team user or have a team a Claude team access, the account holder is going to do this setup. The rest of the team will just automatically connect. So to add Wunderbuild MCP as a connector to Claude, only the account holder will be able to do that. So click here, and in here we'll call it. I've got a couple of Wunderbuild accounts here, so I'm just going to call this Wunderbuild. So I use a test one as well, and then in here you just put the MCP URL. Make sure you have /MCP, because that's the part of the protocol is required. So you have to put that. Just don't put just MCP. Just make sure it has /MCP, and then now we are live. So the connection, the connectors in our system. So it's one of the other connectors that we have. Claude has a marketplace, so obviously you can see I can browse all other connectors from various other software. There's a process to get listed here, but because we only operate in Australia, so the chance of us getting listed here is extremely difficult. So the best way to use it is simply add as a custom connector, and you're all set. So now that we're all connected, we've added our Claude. We simply now start to connect it to it. So what this is going to do now is that it will go to my Wunderbuild application, which is in this browser. When I click on that button, it actually sends Claude to Wunderbuild, and now it's asking me to open Wunderbuild with a special key we set. So here's the key I've created earlier, and I'll say like, now I want to authorize Wunderbuild or Claude to access Wunderbuild using the scope and the permission set by this key. And after we do that, it's all set. All right. So that is now all set, and I'm now up in Claude, and we're good to go. The next step also you need to do is that you head back to that starter document that we shared with you. Make sure you download the Claude skills. Here, this zip file. This zip file. Make sure you download that zip file, and then we'll upload that into Wunderbuild, into Claude as a skill. The reason why you want to do that is that Wunderbuild is a complex system. So while you can get the best out by using directly without any skills, these are Wunderbuild's built skills to help you get the best out. So every message you send, Claude is simply mapping it to an endpoint or to a function in Wunderbuild. But we've taken the liberty to write a lot of this for you guys, so you don't have to know how that's supposed to work. And all you need to do is just download that file. We update this very regularly. So you just download that file and simply upload that. To do that, we just go back to Claude again. Here. And so you click on this tab here again, customize. And once you're in this tab, obviously I'm going through the connector. Now we click on the skills tab here. Yes, we will be uploading. It's just simple. We'll update the new skills, and we'll put them into our website. So there'll be in the product release notes, we're going to be adding there very regularly to say like there's new skills that have been released. So even if you have already had the new skills, if you already had the Wunderbuild skills downloaded previously, you can still re-upload it as well. So in this case, all you have to do is click here, and I've already have my Wunderbuild skills here. But if you don't have one, you simply click on this button, and you say upload skills, and drop the zip file there. And after that, if you already had one, it will update those ones. So you can see I've updated mine just recently. And as I said, these mean nothing to you, but behind the scenes, these are a lot of files, a lot of skills that are designed by our engineers to best get that out of the system. So you can see there's a lot of information there. So that's a really important part of that. And if you have a team plan, means that you don't have a max plan, because Claude has different subscriptions. If you have a team plan, once you uploaded the skills, you can then actually make that shared with your team. So everyone in your team will have access to it automatically. And that's it. So which means you upload that for them, and everyone in the team will have access to it. So the way they access those shared skills is that they will click here next time. Instead of clicking upload in here, they click here browse, and then they click shared one here, and the Wunderbuild one that you've shared with them will be listed there. So that is the process of getting the skills shared with your team. So it's really important to do that. Otherwise, as I say, Claude is going to guess, and later when we actually do the examples, you'll see that a lot of the prompt that we'll be sending, it will be using these skills later as well. So that now that the connection is active, we go back to our startup document, and we plug in that startup prompt that we have here, which is the reason why we like you to do this. It actually helps you just come up with the next questions of what you should ask as well. So the startup prompt, simply copy, once the connection is all active, simply copy this startup prompt and send that to Claude. And that should now tell you the connection is active, and we're all good to go. We'll head back to the chat. I'll go through later what are the difference, all of this, whether should you use the chat, should you use Cowork, should you use the code, and so on. But for this time, we're just focusing on the connections. So now the connection is up and running, we can now add that startup prompt, and then this will get started. The interaction with Wunderbuild, you will see that it's actually going to start using some of the skills behind the scenes. And I'll also run one more other example in here. So you can see it's actually loading behind the scenes, it's loading Wunderbuild skills. This is created, so this, I'm just going to quickly show you. It's using our own custom skills to interact and pull this response back for you. So that is as simple as that. And you can see that this is just the skills we have used to answer these questions. Let me just close the window, and now you can see that. That is the connection active, and we're good to go. And it will help me to do the next step and so on. Additionally, also just to better emphasize on the skills section of it, if I now ask questions about Wunderbuild, it actually understands better for me. I've just uploaded the skills to the in the chat, in the top of this chat, but we'll put the link one more time again. And if you don't have access to skills, simply go to bit.ly/Wunderbuild, and that is where the skills and the starter documents all reside. All right, so that is the connection active. We'll just go quickly recap so everyone is put across, and where you can find all of the way to connect to Claude. That one, the wrong message. So again, if you want to connect, just if you joined late, to connect to Claude, simply click on this tab and simply click on customize, and then follow through here by clicking on connectors, add a new connector, then upload the skills and so on. One other small thing I forgot to mention earlier is that once you add a connector and connect, like the Wunderbuild here, you want to make sure that Cowork example I was showing you guys, make sure this is default. So that way it doesn't ask us question every time. So just make sure that you have that allow always enabled. So now we go back to new chat. So we sort of quickly covered a couple of items here: connectors, skills, and MCPs, and we want to go through some of these two other ones as well. So in Claude, it comes with a number of different applications within Claude. So you have the chat, what I'm using. The chat comes in Cowork and chat. 90% of the time, you will probably going to use the chat because it does the job. Cowork is really good if you want to do like a complex task, and we'll do a couple of them later, where you need things to happen, in a very agentic way, meaning that they need to happen like simultaneously. So you might have one agent that's doing one work, another one is doing another work, and so on. So the Cowork is really quite handy. If you want to just go a bit deeper, code is also really good. Code is really good for doing a complex, data readings and so on. But 99% of the time, everything you need can be done in chat and Cowork. So I'm going to only use in this session one demo for code just to show you guys what it can do. But like I said, like 90% of the time, you're just going to be 99. Most of the time, you're going to be in here. Additionally, also Claude gives you a couple of other really nice features, which are artifact. Some of the guys are asking dashboards, which I'll show you, and a scheduled task. So these are things that happens, in a timely basis. So if I want, message to go out every day 3 p.m. so it notifies all of my team members, we can do that as well. So we're going to go back to the startup document and follow that because there's some good examples. So far we've set that up and we've added our first sample prompt in. From here, we can now just go through some of the DB examples. It's really this has nothing to do with the Claude or ChatGPT. Most of these LLMs, the way I think of it, they're like a PhD candidate. So often, rather than you trying to figure out how to use or how should I prompt, you can actually use these tools to help you better improve your prompt. So if I want to just simply list, say, list all of my Wunderbuild jobs, it will do that for me. But sometimes we might need a bit more complex prompt. Another cool thing about this also is that when you're interacting with one chat, you can actually go back here and open another chat as well and have another conversation. But to really utilize this, what I would recommend is download Whisperflow, which is a really good, nice tool. So if you just go to Whisperflow, it's an AI I use a lot. Most everyone who uses an AI today uses Whisperflow. It's a small application, $20 a month. But what it allows you is that it basically you don't have to ever type a word. Everything you do, you just basically use your voice to communicate. So this is obviously I do use a lot clearly there. But what I can, if you want to really get the best out of some AI tools, Whisperflow is a good tool to have. And because what we can now do is that we want this AI tool or the Claude itself to actually teach us how to use. So in this case, I'm going to open a new chat and I'll say I'm new to Wunderbuild and MCP Claude. Can you walk me through how to build better prompts? Give me step-by-step examples. Use the Wunderbuild MCP itself to help me better build my prompts. So what this is going to do, without me typing a single word, I'll just talk to it. And this is going to now use the Wunderbuild MCP, use the Wunderbuild skills, and now it'll build me a prompt. So if I want to build custom dashboards, custom events that runs automatically, all I have to do is just tell it what I want to do, and then it will build that for me. So while that's running behind the scenes, we'll just go back to this example here, and we'll run some of the couple demo examples here. The PDFs, we put together this PDF really to help you just copy paste and just really just copy and plug into your text. So today we want to do a couple of, rather than cover so many topics, what I want to do in this case is that I want to walk you through one feature that covers skills, schedules, better prompting, all of that stuff. So recently in Wunderbuild, like the last 2 weeks ago, we've released this feature that allows you to basically roster your internal full-time employees. So if I go back to time clock in here, we have got a rostering feature here where I can roster my team, who's working today, who's not working. Additionally, obviously, whoever's rostered will do their timesheet as well. So we have our normal timesheet feature where the guys are clocking in and submitting their timesheet. So we want to use Claude to help us best and say, well, we need to find out a bit more of how many of the team members that we have in our company have submitted their timesheet, but also how does that compares to the rostered that we created for them as well. So here's a really bad prompt, I would say, of the same thing that we're trying to achieve. So if I now plug in this and just open a new chat here, we're now plugging this now, it's still gonna work, but behind the scenes, this is gonna go crazy and probably click hundreds, if not thousands, tools behind the scenes and just go create this skill, read that skill, and so on, and eventually might land and give us what we need. So the best way to really restructure this is to think the same way that you yourself, when you're using the application itself, how you would have done it. So as an example here, if I was doing this without Claude, and all I want to do is I want to compare my rostered time vis-a-vis the team submitted. So just without Claude, you normally would have gone to time tracking, and then you go to rostering. Then you might download that as a one file, as an Excel file. Then you go to your timesheets, and you do the same thing, download the next file. Now then you compare the two together. But that's exactly how you should probably also structure your prompt. So the exact, rather than me saying, go find me something, and you see, this is what it gave me now, like not what I really wanted. So it's just going on the random stuff. But what the next prompt that we're gonna run is the exact same thing, but later we'll show you how you can actually just make it this even simpler and simpler. So we're just gonna go through the same example PDF I was using here, and we use that same analogy of like, go to that area, pull that information, now go to this area, pull that information, convey the two together. So if you scroll down here, the exact same prompt, structured a little bit better, and kind of helping the AI to basically direct them where to go. So we're always saying, hey, we need to, this is what we want to do, where we want to put the information, what rules we need to follow, because we don't want to just go and do all matter of things. So this is a good prompt of really like, and again, you don't have to write it like this. You could actually use the AI itself to help you improve your prompt. So rather, before you write a one prompt, you could actually say like, I want to compare the roster time versus the timesheet the team submitted, craft me a good prompt, and then it'll give you that prompt for you, and you can plug that in a new chat. So here's an example. So what this is going to do now, the exact same prompt. This is what it give us this here. It's a random stuff, not what I wanted. So what I just want to know who hasn't submitted their timesheet in relation to the time that we have scheduled or booked and rostered for them. So that's really the key message. Just think of the same way that you would have used the desktop application is the same analogy. That's how you would structure your prompt. If you don't do that, it's going to guess, it's going to go land somewhere, and you will see the two responses with the same question that I'm asking. You'll see the two responses. This will give me exactly what I've done, what I wanted, which is you literally go to Timesheet, pull that information, and then go to roster and pull that information. They'll do the comparison to see, okay, with the week of the 27th, these are the guys that were rostered, but the week of the 27th, these are the guys that submitted their timesheet. So that's really the key part of it. Just think of it like, how would I do it in the web application? And that is how you then structure your prompt. So going back here now, it's going to do it behind the scenes, the work, and again, it's going to use a bunch of tools, but we can come back to it. We don't have to wait for that as well. The next step after that, once that finishes, what we can also do here is that, and this is more of the advanced topics, if anybody wants to, I've added some examples here of like, what each of these topics, here's what we wanted, and so on. But if you scroll down further down here, this is the next version of that. Remember what I said, these tools can run simultaneously. So in the same analogy of me going to the timesheet, downloading, and then the roster and downloading, now what we can do is that we can send two guys simultaneously, two agents in this case, and we say like, you go and download the timesheet, you go and download the roster, and then we compare it together. When I want to run this kind of agentic multi-agent tools or messages, this is the way you want to use Cowork. So like I said, 90% of is actually we'll go back to one we this is the question I asked earlier. I say like, who hasn't submitted their timesheet, like this, and just pull out random things for me. Where in this case, it's gone and look into my teams that are rostered. So the time that were rostered here, 8 hours of that day, 8 hours of that day, and then who has submitted timesheet on that. So only the three bottom here have submitted timesheet. That is really the response you want to get. Without that, you're not getting much benefit from there. From here, what we can do also is if I go back to my application here, I've got some examples here. So from here, what I can do here is that I could now say like use the internal comms. So what we can do here is that, again, those whisper ideas that are whisper flows, that's where it becomes handy now. So I'm gonna say like, next, can you craft a message and then send that message to my internal comms? And in this message, any of my team members who hasn't submitted their timesheets, please tag them and make sure that they need to submit their timesheet before today, 3 p.m. Message and send it to my internal comms. Yeah. So what this is going to do is that's actually going to look at the timesheet that we submit, the report above there, and then it will look at who has submitted or not, and then it would actually craft a message for me, and then that message will be sent to to this channel here, internal comms, and any team member here who hasn't submitted a timesheet will be tagged in there. Say, hey, you're missing 7 hours here. Hey, you're missing 3 hours here, and so on. So that's really, the benefit you can get out of these tools. Like, just without you doing anything, you just like use your voice, talk to AI, and easily get the response you want. And now we see, hopefully this should be all done. Furthermore, the example I was following as well, if we go back to here, if you want to again take this to the next level, we've got the agentic one. With this, all you have to do is just say, like, use the term is like sub agent or agent one. That helps Claude better prepare this response. Oh, Darwin Grego, that awesome. That works for you, man. Awesome. So here's the same example, and I'm just, again, these are all to help you really just learn the prompt in the example. So it's not like it's going to work for everyone. The reason why I want to show you this is that there's going to be cases where some of these some things that we need to do, we might need to read multiple records. So for example, if I want to do a feasibility estimate, but I want to read the last 9 months or last 12 months estimations we've done, that's a lot of them. So I might have one agent review every estimate that was done, or one agent per estimate. So we'll run like 9 agents together, and they all pull that information out, then pull out, create a template for us in that case. So the reason, that's all I'm going to show you for that reason, just how you can use agentic tools. Yeah, so actually this sent a message, so let's have a look. That's a magic moment. And look at that. Now, what it has done that is that it compared the roster, it mentioned all the people that are standing timesheets, and here now telling me, hey, other guys who haven't done their timesheets and so on. And that's really what you can achieve with this tool. Later, I'm going to show you, without getting ahead of ourselves, how we can even automate this whole process, so you don't have to write that message that I'm doing. All right, going back to the example again for the agentic version. So the chat is 99% of the time, but when we want to do this kind of agentic tools, then that's when we want to switch to things like the Cowork, and you'll see that when I plug in that in the Cowork. So all you have to is open a new chat, press the button here, Cowork, and it's exact same prompt as the one before, but in this one I'm using the terms like sub agent, agent one, and that kind of triggers and helps Claude basically run this simultaneously. So it's the same example. One tool is going to pull in that information. Most of the times Claude might dictate to use agent automatically if you're on Cowork, but but also you have that liberty of like actually saying, I want to use sub agent, because you don't want to rely on the prompt as an example. And now you can see here, we got one guy pulling that exact same example I explained here. We have one agent pulling the timesheet. We have one roster, there's another one pulling the timesheet. And then eventually this chart that we're in now is going to do the comparison and give us the exact same report. Right? So that is the Cowork usage. Cowork is good for multi-step, multi-agent activities that you might want to do. So if I want to do, let's say, grab a file from another directory and move that file to that directory, and sort of, that's where you want to use these tools. Chat, I said, pretty much everything you need on your day-to-day operations can happen in chat as well. So this will do the exact same, will give us that report. So we'll just move on and just make sure that we, so far, both of these examples, they really worked well, but as you can see, they're both really long. So we don't want to really keep writing that long text every time. We want to just pull our timesheets and compare the two. So this is when then the skills kick in. So we can turn that same prompt, and we don't have to write any magical things in it or code. We can turn that same prompt now into a simple skills. All right. So I'm just gonna. This was another example. We'll come back to this one because I think yeah, here. So it's exactly the same prompt. We just open this, yeah. And all I'm saying here is I just want to turn this prompt into skill. So it's the exact same prompt that I had before, but all we're saying now is like, hey, just turn this into skill and helping me out. This will then create a repeatable skills. And then in the future, when we're ready to use this, we don't have to write a complex. I'm just going to follow through this now as an example. So I'll go for Cowork again here, and we click on here and say, hey, it's helping me skill. So the exact same stuff I had before. So this what it's going to do is it will create a repeatable skill that I can use next time without me needing to write the full text every time I just want to compare timesheets and roster. The Claude is going to build that skill for you. Again, you don't have to do much, really just to follow the instruction provided here. And then after that, later when we're ready to use this, all we need to do next time is just to run a simple message of like, who hasn't submitted their timesheet, and Claude would automatically, here. This is the next one I was going to show, sorry. Once we finish that skill, all we need to ask next time Claude is like, hey, who hasn't submitted their timesheet in relation to the roster? And what it was behind the scenes, what it will do is it'll actually default to the skills. You'll use that skill we built, and things will pull out the exact same information that we want. The one after that, if you just want to make this repeatable, things that runs automatically, we can then create in the schedule. And again, you don't have to do anything magical. You simply say like, okay, I just want to turn this into a scheduled activity, and I want it to run between that time and that time. And then what this is going to do is that it'll actually create a scheduled activity, and we'll be able to find it in here. And that activity is going to run every day at 3 p.m. at the time you set, without you clicking any button. So just to recap again, the key part really is just the most important part is getting the prompt right. And the way you structure is like, just imagine if you want to use like the same application as you would. So like, I want to go there, get that information. Now, you could literally just write that in an English word and just get it to polish it up for you, and then do that automatically for you. The next two other examples, because there's people who are asking those questions, is that I want to show you a couple of other really practical workflows that you might use in a day-to-day basis. Where do I find the document? The document is attached in the chat, but I will attach it again here. So this document, if you want to find it, simply go to URL bit.ly/Wunderbuild, but I've attached the document in the chat as well. So I have a couple of other, 3 other examples to quickly run, because we're running out of time, because a lot of people do want. So again, we're just going to use the same example here. So I've got a job here. In this job, we have our guys working all day and submitting their timesheets here, or the timesheets, so their side diaries, daily side diaries as well here, and so on. So it's very common example is that, you guys do the timesheets, they give you photos, descriptions of what's been happening on the side, but often this might not be, polished to be shared with clients. But in here also we have three side diaries. So what we want to do is that we want Claude to take all the 3 side diaries, combine them into something that can be presented to a client. So again, going back to the demo example here, I've included a side diary version, and let's find my side diary. Yeah, I'll actually have it. I've already prepared one here before. So all I'm doing here is that here's my side diary demo. The prompt is in the example, but here all I'm saying, like, hey, we want to do a client facing SAT report for that project. So we're telling it where to go again. It's important because we've got other side diaries, and this really the key part is like, you're saying like, in this case, I'm saying like we want to see the logs that were done in today or 31st or sort of. So really that's the key part. So here when I say like logs that were done on today, so that way it only pulls out. There might be like other side diaries that were done on the first of another day, like a week before. So we don't want to include that. So in this case, I'm simply going to take this, and you will see that it's going to create me a nice professional looking side diary that only consists of the 3 examples that I wanted, which are those 3. That number 1, and those are the 3 one that was created on the 31st. I'm actually going to include that date here just to make sure that we don't. Yeah. So in here, in the date example here, I will. That's fine. That will do it. Yeah, that's okay. And simply grab that, and that will run behind the scenes. Come on. While that's doing, we'll do a couple of other examples as well, so that way we don't run out of time. All right, so we head back to Claude again, and again, given that this is going to do a bunch of things, I'm going to use Cowork because it's going to download one file from there and one file from somewhere else, and we'll let it run behind the scenes. So this is going to create a professional looking side diary easily. The other key thing also is that because Claude has now connected network, Thus, you can connect to Gmail, you can connect to Drive, you can connect to Outlook or any other tools. Claude now can also become the distribution system that can take one file from here and move it to that side. So again, in the example here, in the same example, I've also included a way to, in my demo account, I'm connected to Claude Drive. In my Google Drive, it's connected to Claude. I've also included an example in that same here as well, where what I want to do in this case is I want Claude to go to my Google Drive, folder named 33 Mari, pull out the plan named here. Then I want it to go to one of my jobs named 33 Mari Street as well. And then I want that to import that file for me. Okay. So when you're doing this kind of things, because it's going to move files and so on, then that's when you want to use something like a code. So it's a simple tab here. In this case, we click this tab and we create a new, and we just plug in here. That's it. This one has a much better memory management as well. So it can hold the whole file locally. And then, because remember, it has to use, so it's actually going to use Google Drive MCP, right? Pull the file out because I'm connected to, and then it will use the Wunderbuild MCP, hold the file in its memory first, pull the, then open the connection with the Wunderbuild, and then upload that file from into that project here as well. So that is a really simple, easy use case. Has already found the file, and that's going to do easily without us touching anything. So you can move files across multiple areas as well. All right. All right. The next example also, which is really good use case as well, is and that's also included in the demo example, is now because there's a lot of guys who want to see how do we do dashboards and so on. So if you want to build, that live dynamic dashboards that refresh every time you come, you use the artifact one. This is the tool you use. And first time when you click on this, we'll open this later. The prompt examples are there. First, when you want to click on this and say like created for Cowork, because this is a multi-agent tool. Don't do it for the chat, do it for Cowork. As soon as we press that, it'll automatically get started. So because it thinks it's going to do its own dashboard for whatever reason. So I normally what I do here is I actually stop it. Right? Just like don't do anything for me. Now I want to give my prompt and plug in it here. So again, you could get it to guide you. So if you wanted to teach you how to actually do it, you can do that. But I've included a good example, which some supervised SAT managers might be in the meeting today here in the chat. A very good demo here where in our Wunderbuild, we hold up the takeoff. That's a secret project. We're not going to talk about takeoff yet. Sorry, man. That's experimental project. I do apologize for showing that because that's experimental project. All right. Going back to the Wunderbuild, we always have this awesome feature where now subbies can confirm. They can confirm their schedule once you release the schedule tool. So you get the two-way confirmations. They can decline and so on. So I've got a couple of examples here where there are a few things that were confirmed and a few things to have been declined. So if I'm a site supervisor and I'm running 10 projects, with schedules, each part maybe 30 suppliers and so on, I don't want to really, yes, while I can come here and see who's confirmed or not. So what I want to do in this case is that we want to build a live interactive dashboard purely that shows my schedule progress, confirmation, declines, and all that stuff. So going back to the demo example here, I've included a simple plugin prompts you can use. Call it the schedules. I thought I included my schedule one here, but I gotta find it. But I'll update this again. But there is a schedule one that builds an artifact for you, a live interactive artifact. And once you run that, the output of that is gonna look like Google Drive. We'll check that later. I want to build one of those. Yeah, here. That's a live dashboard. That's not what I wanted. It's mine. Updated here, but that's okay. I'll update the PDF one more time, but we'll go back to, I'll include the PDF, the prompt again in the PDF, but here's the one I prepared earlier. So go in my artifact, so this is the exact same example. So this is actually a live interactive dashboard of my Wunderbuild schedules, And this is live. That means if we update the data behind it, the Wunderbuild, it will automatically update here. So here's all of my jobs. So when I look at these 270 columns, it tells me I've got 33 tasks, 7 accepted. So that acceptance example that I was showing you earlier. And so far, no one is waiting to accept. 3 declined, and I can see who have declined. But again, you can show this across all jobs. So I can have one that displays all of my jobs, every task, for how many acceptance, how many still waiting, and so on. And that's a simple plain English prompt. So I'll find it for you. But give me one second. I think I had a prompt here, but I'll update. Like I said, I'll include that in the release notes. But this was the I didn't realize it was the Friday's last sessions. Yeah, that's the this is the prompt for the dashboard for the what do you call the schedule dashboard. So I'll include that in the download link. So later in about at the end of the session, when you open that link, you'll see that. But that's all it is. We're just telling it what to do, where to grab the data, what to include, what not to include, and so on, because the schedule has so much data. So the key thing is really pull AI tools like this dot points. Dot points are their guidance. So you want to tell, just do this, don't do this, do that, don't do that. Just before I hand over to Theo, I'm going to quickly check my 2 examples that we ran. One was the client update. So this finished. So now if I go to the 270 project and we look at our side data, we should have a professionally written side data that's ready to be shared with the client. So let's have a look. Send project. Yeah, client update. So this is what it's done is it's gone through these three records, and now it built me this report that has all these photos, and all that information is extracted from that 3 records, and now it's ready for me to release that and share that with the client. I actually do know clients in Melbourne that literally would download file from one side data and then upload back to that side data just to prepare a nice client side data record for them like that. Yeah. So that's the example of the be able to just to summarize, take a bunch of side data and create a client-ready side data for you without you doing anything. Right? The next one also I ran earlier was the example of grabbing the file from the Google Drive. So that also finished. So the called skills. This one, sorry. Import file. So I run it. Yeah. So again, it actually smart enough now. It went through it and actually previewed the document itself. It's not what I was expecting, but actually it's previewed the document itself. So if I now go to this project, I should have that file sitting there for me. Another really things that not many people know is that now with the latest update that we released to the MCP, it can actually read PDF files. So you can actually have a discussion. You can tell it, go to that project, pull that plan, and let's have a discussion about that plan. And you can ask questions about what is the measurement of the eastern walls, how many tile areas it has, and so on. So now that's part of the feature that it supports. It can actually read the PDF itself as well. All right, so if we go back to my my job, and then I'll go give it to Theo quickly, and for the ChatGPT team, now you can see if my Mari project, go to my Google Drives document here, you can see that is just right about now, like just 6 minutes ago. I'm in Perth, so about 1 p.m. Right now it's about 7 p.m. Yeah, just before 1 p.m. And now it uploaded that plan directly from my Google Drive from there. Just grab that file from there as well. So that's how you can use multiple MCPs to interact with each other and achieve a result. How you can really build a professional looking side diaries that can easily be shared with client. How you can better structure your prompts, and just to think of it as if I'm using the application itself. So call it bonus demo is that as I mentioned earlier, that I think as of last maybe few nights, we've now updated the MCP, and it has now full capabilities to read documents within your account. So in here, I've just told it to just go to the same file that we earlier uploaded from Google Drive. I just open a new chat, and I told it just go to that project, list all documents, find the document that I wanted, and then I ask like, can you open this document, and it open it, and then I even follow up with the third question here, saying like using the current scale shown in the document, can you measure all tile areas? So what is that is this is scaled at a 1 to 183 sheets. So it used that. Obviously, I want to, these are good for reporting purpose. It used those scales, and then it measured all the tile areas. You can see in this plan, we've got the bathroom, laundry, and in-suites. So if you want to use this feature, going back to those Claude 3 features or 3 applications, this is really good for code. As I said, because it has a better memory, it can hold the whole file locally, and it can then reason with it and actually read the file. So if you ask the same question, the same exact question in the chat, which is in this tab, you might not get the result. So when you really need to like read big files that require a lot of memory, then Code is a really good tool. So you can see it actually can measure the whole thing. And imagine if you're on site, and Code is also available in the mobile phone. So if you're on site, you could just ask Claude, say like, okay, go to the project, pull out all of the bathroom schedule and give me the whole thing in the PDF, all the drawings, all the things that need to be done, and it just gives you that information in near real time as well. But it's a new feature that was added probably over the last maybe 5 days as we make and upgrade this MCP further and further as well. So just make sure you test that out under the Code feature.